Matthew chapter 4. The parable of the sower. On another occasion, he began to teach by the sea. A very large crowd gathered around him, so that he got into a boat on the sea and sat down. And the whole crowd was beside the sea on land, and he taught them at length in parables. And in the course of his instruction, he said to them, "Hear this, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Other seed fell on rocky ground where it had little soil. It sprang up at once because the soil was not deep, and when the sun rose, it was scorched, and it withered for lack of roots. Some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it produced no grain. And some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit. It came up and grew and yielded 30, 60, and 100-fold. He added, "Whoever has ears to hear ought to hear." This parable used to frustrate me greatly. And so it's a little ironic that I chose to focus on it for this, but I chose because of what happened this week. And so the theme is telling me a story. I'm going to tell you the story of my wonderful week. This week was difficult for me beyond the normal. I have many papers due, I have work that you have unexpected things happen. It was difficult on a personal level because my mother had to have emergency surgery today. And that, as always, was hard, very, very hard. When something like that happens, you feel helpless, especially when I'm from Georgia. So she's all the way in Georgia, and this is happening. I would like to be there to help her through the process. Talking on the phone is, not much of a substitute. And so I could not focus, actually, on what I was going to say here today, because I kept being distracted and kept going back to this. The Hail Mary is very comforting to me, so I was saying the Hail Mary a lot this week. And I was just scattered all over the place. I was questioning whether I should do this. What was the point? But something kept telling me, you should, this is a good thing. So I said, okay, well, I'll do it, but we'll see what comes out. And then a small turning point happened where I was expressing how I felt to someone I trust, and she said, well, we do have a Catholic listserv, and I don't know if this would be appropriate for the larger listserv, but feel free to email out and ask anything that you need to ask from the community. And I did, and I emailed out, and I said, I'm going through a difficult time. My mother and I, my family could use your prayers, and we would really appreciate it. Here's the situation. And pretty immediately, I got an email back that said, we will keep her in your prayers. Then in a class later, a friend approached me and said, I heard about your mom. I'm saying a mass tomorrow. We'll say it for your mom. I went to one of the community gatherings we have here every week, and I put her on the prayer list, and I could just feel the power of prayer. Prayer is so powerful. And what's powerful for prayers is beyond just feeling the community and feeling the connection that comes with prayer. You feel the connection that just is through everyone, which reminded me of this parable. It frustrated me because it seemed predetermined. It seemed like, so if I'm on rocky soil, then I'm not going to bear fruit. If I get on the path, or if I'm among the thorns, then I'm just going to die. I won't go to heaven. I heard people preach that. If this happened in your life, you have no control over it, you have no hope. And I just don't believe in a God that would do that. And it wasn't until looking through all these options, it was last night, to be completely honest. I was looking through these options. I said, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I was going through the Old Testament, but I was not feeling it. As I finally got to some of the parables, I was like, okay, maybe we were talking about this. And I got to this one, and my first thing was, I don't really like this parable. But then I was thinking about the connections I had felt this week. And then it made me think about what the problem is here, is these plants don't have a good root system. But then also, roots, so I like plants, so then this led to this. Roots don't just go down. It's not like a plant's like all by itself, and there's God, and so it's going to bear fruit. They spread out. And they have connections to other plants. They have connections to the water. They have connections that give them the energy they need to have fruit. If a plant is all by itself, it can often die. A lot of plants need other plants to survive. I was just living in Arizona. So many plants have to live together or they can't survive in the harsh desert environment. But when they're together, they support each other. One's usually really tall. The cactus can provide that, can provide protection for the smaller plants while they grow. If you try to live without other people, it can be very difficult. At the same time, though, I was thinking about roots, and I said, okay, well, so you need room to spread out. And that made me think I had just replanted a plant. I have lots of plants in my house. And I took it out of the pot, and it was root bound. I don't know if any of you know what this means, but when you take a plant out, it's root bound. It looks like just this nest of roots, which basically means the plants are starving to get more energy, and so they're in a race, and they keep putting more roots out, putting more roots out, putting more roots out, and then they kill each other eventually because they're putting out too many roots. So I said, okay, plants need room to spread out and make connections, but also they need enough room to have their own space. So you can't cram too many people together. So we need community. We need people to help us. We also need our own space. And it's not where you are planted that matters. It's how you cultivate the land where you're planted that matters. You can invite other people to come help you out. That's what I did this week. I said, I'm in a new place. I do not have a lot of connections to people yet. I don't have a support system. Please stretch out your roots and help me out. And I felt that this week. So this parable is saying that it could be hard sometimes. If you're planted in a place where you aren't going to easily have opportunities to grow, it could be hard. And you could be in a situation where because of that, you don't bear fruit. Because of that, you don't go on and succeed in your goals in life. Because of that, you can't do what you really want to do. You're stuck, which happens to so many people. And as people of faith, we should use our gifts and reach out to those people. We should share the knowledge that we have. We need to spread out our roots and support each other. So that if I'm planted on rich soil and there's thorns right beside me, I can help fight those thorns. If you're on rich soil and you have someone next to you that's struggling on rocky ground, that can't put down enough roots, that doesn't know what they're doing, you can help them. And that's what this parable is going to represent for me now. And I'm sure that it will evolve over time, as things should, but I'm very glad that I did not say I wasn't going to do this, because then this wouldn't have happened, because I would have still looked at this and said, oh, so it doesn't matter, we're all separate and just predetermined. So yes, some things are, and that everyone grows up in different situations. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have free will. We have the power to help people. We have the power to change. We have the power so that everyone can have the opportunity to produce good fruit, to yield 30, 60, and 100-fold. And as people, I think our main focus, beyond yielding fruit ourselves, is helping others to yield fruit as well.